Have you ever thought your house might be haunted? Have you ever watched a horror movie and felt that some of the strange events ticked a few boxes in your house? Whether you believe you have been haunted or just curious about the subject, there are many signs of hauntings that you can look out for. That is, if you know what to look for. Here are 14 signs that you may be sharing your house with a ghost. Number 14. Strange noises. These noises could be nothing more than the natural sounds that your house makes, particularly if your home was built before the 1950s. But at the same time, do not take these noises for granted. Knocking pipes or creaking floorboards can sound like anything, but there's no mistaking the sound of genuine footsteps or someone tapping against a wall. Ensure that you record or take notes of these mysterious sounds. Are they random or do they happen at intervals? Can other people hear them, or is it just you? Do you have pets? How do they respond? Do they appear to be staring at something that you cannot see yourself? Do they get nervous when they hear the sounds? Become familiar with the typical sounds and sights of your home and take note of anything that doesn't seem to add up. Number 13. Your pets start acting odd. Have you seen your cat staring at the corner of a room, with their eyes just staring at absolutely nothing? Do they raise their back and hiss at the air? If you have dogs, are they barking or whimpering at things that you cannot see? It could be that they are sensing or seeing something that you can't. Cats do not really stare or hiss at nothing, and there have been many reports of animals reacting to spirits. They are even known to interact with them. Take note of how often they do this. They might be communicating with a friendly spirit. However, ensure that there are no health issues attached to this unusual behaviour, as it might not necessarily be of a paranormal nature. Number 12. Furniture and other objects aren't where you left them. Have you noticed a dresser or a chair that always seems to be out of place? Are certain things constantly disappearing? And how often do you find them? If that sounds familiar, then there's a chance you've got a mischievous poltergeist roaming around your home. Of course, there's the terrifying experience of having an object actually move in front of your eyes, and even better if you can catch it on film. That's if you have the composure to stick around to film it, rather than run out of the room screaming. Keep in mind, some of the more extreme poltergeist cases may be nothing more than pranksters of the human variety. This is known as poltergeist faking syndrome. This doesn't mean that your home isn't being pranked by a ghost. I'm sure they too like to play games. Number 11. You're woken up every morning at around 3 a.m. Do you find yourself being woken up at this time? It could be a gentle nudging of a spirit. Apparently, the barrier between the real world and the spiritual world is at its thinnest between 3 and 5 a.m, where spirits generally wake people up at around that time. The thin veil between our worlds and theirs is what allows them to gently prod you awake, blow in your face, or maybe just rip the sheets clean off the bed. Number 10. You get random bruises, scratches, or bites. Have you ever woken to find that you have a scratch that you don't remember getting? Or found a bruise that seems to have appeared from nowhere? What about unexplained bite marks? While random bruises and scratches may be caused by natural things that you did earlier in the day, but just didn't register with you. However, bite marks are different, as you would know if something bit you, and that bite may potentially be caused by a malicious and violent poltergeist. You may have to take action against it, but how would you go about doing it? Finding something that you cannot see. You might even escalate the situation Many poltergeist hauntings, even serious cases, reportedly last for just a short amount of time before clearing up on their own. So maybe it's best to leave well alone. Number 9. You're having more nightmares. Have you noticed that you appear to be having more nightmares than usual? Are these nightmares recurring, and you find yourself in the same dream with the same characters? Experiencing more nightmares isn't necessarily a sign that your house is being haunted, but it may just be a sign. There are several theories that some people are more susceptible and vulnerable to ghosts as they sleep, particularly when dreaming. If you wake up and cannot move, then you may be going through what is commonly known as sleep paralysis. While terrifying as it is, you are not being visited by a troublesome spirit. Number 8. Electronic equipment starts to malfunction. Have you noticed your lights flicker or become more intense? Maybe your appliances and other electronics turn off and on and seem to operate themselves. The more common types of hauntings appear to be the radio or the TV turning on by themselves. First call an electrician, or if you cannot afford that, just wait and see whether it passes or escalates. When viewing paranormal shows, there appears to be no doubt that spirits do affect electromagnetic fields, allowing them to cause fluctuations in light intensity and make electronics behave abnormally. However, there is usually a logical explanation for why these things happen, and it would be wise to not jump to conclusions and think that you're being haunted just because it happens to you. Number 7. You notice mysterious movements and shadows. Have you ever caught a shape, or maybe an actual figure, just out of the corner of your eye? It could be your mind playing tricks on you, or maybe car headlights. But it could also be a spirit or a shadow person inhabiting your home. Some ghosts just don't want to be seen. Just leave them be unless you feel that they are dangerous in some way. They may stick around and just avoid you, or they may move on and go haunt somewhere else. Either way, they aren't likely to trouble you unless you start prodding and start annoying them. Then you might get more than you bargained for and end up being chased out of your own home. Number 6. The temperature starts fluctuating. Does the temperature change suddenly with no possible explanation? It could be a sign that a spirit is present. People typically experience goosebumps, a chill running down their neck, and a room feeling heavy or dense when ghosts are around. One very common feeling of which I have personally felt is the sudden drop in temperature where the room is freezing cold, yet outside the weather is very warm. Number 5. You constantly notice that the time is 11:11. If you consistently catch the clock at 11:11, then it may be a sign that a deceased loved one is still living in your home, according to the spiritual medium Maureen Hancock. The number represents infinity, and it is your loved one telling you that they're at your side. For the last couple of years, I have personally been bombarded by 11:11 and have often wondered why these sets of numbers continue to haunt me. Number 4. You feel someone or something staring at you. Do you often get the feeling that someone is staring at you, that you really can feel their eyes on you? This is a phenomenon called gaze detection. It is the ability of your brain to detect if someone or something is currently watching you and staring directly at you. When you're walking down the street and you suddenly have the urge to turn around and find yourself staring directly back at someone's eyes. There are obvious evolutionary benefits to this ability. It is one of the many reasons humans have survived as long as they have. Now think about when that feeling of being watched is triggered when you're home alone. You go through the home and check all the doors and windows to be sure no one is watching you. The coast is completely clear, but the feeling that you're being watched doesn't go away. It could be that whatever is watching you is something that you can't see, or doesn't want you to see them. Now that is a spooky feeling, making you feel ill at ease. Number 3. You hear voices that you cannot explain. Hearing voices is one of the first terrifying signs of schizophrenia, where the voices that schizophrenics hear appear to come from within their own head, while the voices that ghosts make sound like they're coming from outside. It sounds like the voice of another person talking to you. The reality is that the ghosts may not be speaking directly to you. They may just think that you are someone else. Maybe you're just hearing an echo of some psychically charged event of the past. The spirit might not be talking to you at all, and you may just be unintentionally eavesdropping on conversations from years ago whose participants are long since dead. This phenomenon is known as residual haunting. It happens when a voice or apparition is recorded by the atmosphere and reappears at a later time. The good news is that, outside of being incredibly creepy, residual hauntings are totally harmless, as they are basically a footprint from the past and has left its permanent mark in that particular environment. Number 2. You can smell something but can't find the source. If you can smell something that brings back memories of a lost relative or a loved one, then it could be a sign that you're a ghost somewhere in your house. Loved ones are known to try and comfort the friends and family that they leave behind when they pass. This smell could be anything from their perfume and deodorant to the smell of the meal that your grandma would always make for you. Of course, there are smells that are downright evil, where a negative entity is leaving another sort of message. However, check to ensure your pooch hasn't also left a little present for you under the table or some other hidden spot. Number 1. You actually see a ghost. The most definitive sign that you have a spirit is to actually see one. And if you have the presence of mind and not be terrified out of your wits, you might be composed enough to take a photo or film it. You need to ask yourself if you saw it more than once, and if it has ever made attempts to engage you. However, if you do see a ghost or ghosts doing the same thing time and time again, then it may just be a residual haunting. Even though a residual haunting cannot harm you, it is still nonetheless terrifying. This is little more than some kind of ghostly projector screening a movie, and there's nothing to be worried about. It might be somewhat scary, but you'll learn to live with it. It may even go away in time. If the ghost in question shows signs of sentience though, then you may want to try communicating with it. You can easily ignore it if it seems harmless. There is no need to worry about a ghost unless it is actively disrupting your life.